Yay. Hi. As this odd off week continues, foam rolling should resume next week as planned, as scheduled. Sorry it's not happening tonight, but I got a baby sleeping in that room over there. I got kids upstairs in my bed watching Moana because I just didn't want to start the bedtime argument now because my husband's home, so it must be a holiday. Yay, holiday! What I did want to do, though, was take a minute to go over some of the points I hit, not terribly eloquently, in the stream I did on Friday, where I talked about, on Sunday when I talked about needs versus boundaries. So, let's go there. If you guys have any questions, if you tried Ars Inferno today at lunchtime, yay, let me know how that went. I hear it's really hard. I mean, granted, I thought it was pretty hard, but I'm very surprised that anyone else thought it was hard, considering all the strength workouts that I've had you guys doing for the past couple months. So, just the few things I wanted to say. I've been hearing a lot over the last 2 years about people in my training programs that are like, I didn't feel like I could reach out. I didn't think it was appropriate. And I'm like, let's talk a little bit about needs versus boundaries. I do have boundaries, and I make them very, very clear. And by friending me on Facebook, you're not crossing a boundary if you're a client of mine. By following my Coach MK page, by commenting on something that I post. Anything that's in public domain, you're part of the public too. Like that's cool. Like, follow me on Instagram. Like the pictures that I put up there. Follow Morning Mantra Pod. That's my podcast Instagram. And in case you didn't know, I have a podcast. It's awesome. And it's, listening to that, commenting on that, letting me know your feedback on that, all of that is totally in play and acceptable. Because when we think about what boundaries really, the purpose they serve, what they are, they shield us from demands and from pressure. And they're different for different people in different situations. So, hi! Thanks for coming by, Melissa. Hope you have a good night. So we have personal boundaries, right? You don't want to talk about, I don't want to hear about my mother's sex life. I don't actually want to hear about anyone's sex life, so that's really unfair. But maybe you talk to a friend. It's not weird to discuss your sex life or have a certain friend of yours discuss their sex life with you. But someone like, I don't know, maybe your sister, you don't want to hear it. So the boundaries go up. It can be contextual on the subject, the time, or the person, right? So I'm your coach. I don't want to hear about your sex life. Let's start there. I don't even want to, it is such a private thing. I'm horrified when clients get on the phone and they're like, this, that, and the other shit. Is it bad if I have sex the night before a race? And I'm like, first of all, what the fuck kind of sex are you having if you think it could interfere with your race? Second of all, don't answer that question, as I melt into a puddle on the floor. All that aside, as long as we're not talking about that, then we're probably not crossing any boundaries, and I'm probably not cringing. There are things that make Coach MK cringe, and anything that personal, I'm like, I can live without knowing that, and so can you. We can have a whole conversation about your pelvic floor, the pelvic floor PT, the instruments you have to use to perform pelvic floor PT on your own at home. We can talk about all that stuff without crossing a boundary that makes me uncomfortable. It takes other people a while to get there, and I get it. But that aside, we just went really deep down a rabbit hole there. Most people haven't even come near the edge, right? They're saying that they feel like they'd be crossing a boundary by saying hello or texting me to let me know how their race went, even though I asked you to. They felt like they couldn't sign up for office hours, even though they paid for them. So the only reason I didn't, in the fine print of the contract everyone signed, include office hours was so that people couldn't demand it. And I did have several people say, well, I can't, the nature of my job means that I can't step away from my desk ever, and there's no way I could possibly speak during this pool of office hours, so Coach MK has to find time to talk to me. And I always found time, to talk to those people. And I didn't lose my mind even when I found out that the person in question was a dog groomer. Really, dog groomer? You couldn't. There was no way between noon and 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. There's no way you could have a 15-minute window. All right. You know, I say that bitterly because I was a trader, like on the stock exchange in Hong Kong for 4 years and in Tokyo for 4 years. I didn't drink liquids before noon. I've spoken about this before in the podcast. I did not consume liquids before noon so that I wouldn't have to go to the bathroom before the market closed. I had a hydration strategy for work. So I get a little eye rolly when people are like, no, I can't possibly, you must accommodate me. I'm like, who needs boundaries? You need boundaries, not me. Anyway, so there's the personal, we aren't that close. I don't want to talk about that. Or the sort of thing, the sort of boundary that lets you know a relationship is one-sided. Like, you do something for people, and then you ask them for a favor, and they're like, well, you can't get mad that I said no. And it's like, I thought we were friends. Like, yeah, you did, but that other person clearly didn't, but they were going to take whatever you gave them. They recognized a boundary that maybe you wanted to get over, because those little favors, that's how trust is built. And that's really what I've spent the last 3 years doing at another Mother Runner, was to earn all of your trust and to prove to you how much I care. And I even chased after people I shouldn't have had to chase after, just to be like, no, actually, I give a shit. And if you'll engage with me, I will show you how much I actually care. So there's that. So that's one type of boundary. The next type of boundary are the professional boundaries. Like, you don't pay me that much. You can't ask me to do that. Boundary here because you don't pay me that much. Work on a weekend. Miss a funeral. Miss a kid's, piano recital to work on a project over the weekend when they're not paid to be there. Like, you don't pay me enough, you can't ask me to do that thing, you've crossed a line. So in a service industry, and especially on social media, these two things intertwine, right? So it can, totally understand, like, if the signal felt crossed or missed, again, I just want you to know that's totally normal, because we haven't met in person, because you can't knock on my door, because there's like, what we've been doing is virtual and online, and I'm here for you, and doesn't mean I care less. It just means, like, you're probably not going to run into me in the grocery store. And I'm not such a public figure that, I'm going to care if you guys say and do nice things. So that's awesome. So there's that, because all these little things, like when you go the extra mile at work, if it leads to a promotion, you're going to keep going the extra mile at work and doing those things. But the second it doesn't come back your way in the form of like a raise or a promotion, you're going to stop doing those things completely. So all those little things are how you develop trust, and like in a private situation, in a personal situation, it's how you develop a good reputation in the workplace. So I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just saying that I have done continuous favors on both a personal and professional level for the past 3 years, because one, that's the type of person that I am, that's how I roll, and two, I get it. Like, I get how important this is to people. I get that you need someone that's invested and cares about you and your progress as much as you do, and I get that that's really hard to come by. I also understand that soft space where a lot of coaches don't want to play, and that's fair and fine. It is easier to do things when you're fit. It's easier to coach really fit people, because the fitter you are, the more motivated you are. I am not fit right now, y'all. I spent a year in bed. Let me tell you how quickly I did not have to debate going out in the 6 degrees we had today in Denver. It was effing freezing. It did not cross my mind to go for a run. I went to Pilates. I looked outside. I'm like, nope. And I stayed and I did another hour of Pilates and was like, winner. And then I came home to my kids, and that was why I did that second hour of Pilates. I basically knew I was going to be home with my kids all day, so I did not do that. I'm like, yay, I can get on the reformer for another hour, or I can go, make peanut butter sandwiches again. So there's that. All that just to say that, like, I've been really fit. Right now I am not. I totally get how hard it is to know, like, where to start, what your next best step is, and what's okay to care about when you're not as fit as you want to be. I'm here for those conversations. Most coaches are not, and that's okay. That's a choice. That's a personal and professional boundary that they've set. Like, I'm not here to get you out of bed in the morning. I know I'm not afraid to hold your hand, and I'm willing to hold your hand when you have those days when it's hard to get out of bed, and you're like, I don't really want to do this. And I'm like, then why are you training for a PR in Minnesota in the middle of March? Then is there a way that we can keep going without, if we have to keep, is the only way we can go forward with the race on the calendar. okay, if the only way we can keep going is with the race on the calendar, is there any way we can just care about having a fun race somewhere nice? Or why does it have to be PR or BS all the time? That gets tiresome. There'll come a day when you don't care anymore. And I don't want that day to come. I can't imagine a day where you don't care about running. Right now, I really care about running. I just also care about getting extra snuggles with the last baby that's ever going to come out of my body. I'm here for a little extra time with my husband who doesn't have to travel this week. Yay! I'm here for all the extra stuff, and I wouldn't get to do that extra stuff if I was in a hardcore training cycle, and there's no reason to be in a hardcore training cycle when it's 6 degrees outside. So all of this is food for thought. A lot of people got really excited about the weight loss discussion that I had the other night. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, I have exported all of my old videos from Twitch, and they are now live on YouTube. One by one, I'm going through. Some of them have descriptions and labels and tags, and some don't. That's going to take forever because I had about 125 videos from YouTube. Who knew that I've been streaming so much? If I have to come up there, Moana's going to bed, and so are you. I'm not sure what they're resolving. I don't want to have to go up there. But anyway, yeah, so there's that. So I was going to say, I get how these two felt really intertwined. It was an intense situation I intended for it to be because that's how I coach. I get it. I get where you are because most of you are where I've been. The realization that I had after 2 babies back to back was that I didn't know how to be the runner I currently was, and I couldn't find anyone that knew how to work with, cultivate, and develop the sort of runner that I was then back into the person I used to be. Now I do. I have a very clear idea of what that trajectory is and what that looks like, and I can't wait till all this stuff is done with my son and we can take, next steps forward with coaching stuff. I just can't promise anything to what that's going to be because that's the quickest way to violate all the trust I feel like I've built up with you guys over the past few years is to start making promises that I can't keep. Just going to so I'm taking that big step back while I figure things out, and then when it's time to take a step forward again, you will be the first to know. And I'll keep doing it the same way I do everything, very, very directly, very succinctly. If you follow my Facebook page, if you follow my YouTube channel, if you watch here ever, you'll know what's happening as it happens. Because the final thing is the operating principles, right? I don't know what the operating principles would need to be in a new coaching situation yet. I've had to get rid of most of my private and one-on-one clients because, they got really mad at me when they might not check their workout for the next day until 10 o'clock at night on the East Coast, and I don't usually check my email after 8 o'clock. So they would write me a question and then be very, very angry when in their training log the next morning because they didn't have an answer to their question before they went on their run. Like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Like, how about you get your shit together more than 5 hours in advance? What, is it quiet?
I was checking to see if there was any active screaming or arguments, and there doesn't sound like any.
I know, right? We're winning. Yay! So there's that. That's all. That's pretty much all I had to say. Did anybody try Ask Inferno yet? I want to hear the verdict. I know I've got one from Melissa who is like, that's hard. Like, you're welcome. Nope. I'll wait. Not that long. Oh yeah, but I was saying before I heard the screaming upstairs about the weight loss. So the weight loss stream that I did the other night, that I did last week, people responded really well to that because it had never really crossed their mind, that training for weight loss looks so different than training for an event. And I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. My priority is maintaining if I had to list it would be getting rid of the rest of the diclegus weight because I still feel some burning in my SI joint that I didn't before it came on. And maybe the weight is not to blame, but I felt fine before I gained 30 pounds in 3 weeks. So there's a part of me that's not going to be calm again until all 30 of those pounds are gone. And I've got 7.5 pounds of baby weight left. So, or diclegus weight. We're beyond the baby weight and into the diclegus weight now. So that's very much how I look at it. So priority 1 is getting the rest of that weight off so that, that's less effort on my spine. Number 2, maintaining my rehab and making sure that every part of me that is strong enough to support my spine is as strong as it needs to be. And number 3 is getting back into that running habit. If you guys have been to Moab, Utah, there's a great race out there called Arches, and we're booking tickets now. Well, not this minute, but we're trying to work out with my husband's travel schedule. I'm going. I'm not going to be running the race. I'm just going to support for the day. And I'm super excited about that because I love traveling with my local runners whenever I can. So I'll be in Utah, hopefully on the day. I'll let you guys know when I booked all the tickets and stuff, but we'll either be driving or flying. And the Arches is the weekend of the 26th, 27th. So that'll be super fun. I'm really, really hoping that I will be fit enough to enjoy a run on this. See, this is my goal, right? We're going to my 10-year grad school reunion in May, which coincides with the weekend of 3 days at the fair, where I have all these totally crazy people getting ready for this event. My favorite email was an email from Julie, one of the girls I'm coaching right now, ladies that I'm coaching right now, who was like, MK, do I really have to do this 5.5 hour run in the snow? Can I move things around a little bit? Because 5.5 hours in the snow makes me crazy. I'm like, let me tell you what's going to make you crazy. 50 hours on a 1 mile loop in rural Pennsylvania. That's going to make you crazy. But okay, avoid the snow. Swap things around. I laughed about that email for the longest time last night. That was just wonderful. But the same weekend that they were running 3 days at the fair is my 10-year grad school reunion. And I would like to, before driving up to 3 days at the fair, enjoy a run with the former Wharton Run Club on the Schuylkill River like I did in grad school, because that'll make me really happy. It's not even about beating anybody. It's about being fit enough to show up and enjoy it even if it's cold. So there's that. Like, my goal is not a race. It's not a time. I still have those goals in my head, but I'm not there yet. So if there's going to be a there, then I got to be here now and take each step forward day at a time from where I'm at. And that's very motivating for me. I don't think I could be ready for any sort of race in the spring. And I don't want to try, right? I don't want that sort of pressure. Because when you have that pressure on, you make bad choices and you forget about your priorities, right? My priorities, again, it is rehab. So we're staying rehabbed. It's losing the weight, staying rehabbed. Hella strength, hella strength, hella strength is how it's all going to happen. Because I've said it, I can't possibly say it more. Strength is the key to everything, as are strides. But I can't get anyone to do strides either. So here you go. Yay! What else can I stand for? The one with the heel dip. I took a few socks and bunched them onto anything, if you have like an old phone book, no, because those are soft cover, like a coffee table book would do it. And it doesn't have to be very high. It could just be like an inch or two off the ground, and something firm enough that so where the reason I was faltering with that move and falling was because the ball of my feet kept slipping towards the hole in the handle on my weights earlier. So if you have, and I had a big reference book around that my kids have now totally hidden, and I'm a little frustrated because I still don't know where it is, but I'll find it before tomorrow and then demonstrate with it tomorrow. But if you have just like some thick coffee table book, or surely to goodness, you homeschool. Don't you have books? Don't you have books? Go get a big heavy book and just stand on that book. Hard book. That's going to be your best bet. That's what I was going to stand on. But yeah, it doesn't need to be more than maybe 2 inches thick, and that's totally fine. It's not about how far down we're reaching your heel. It's about holding the upper part of your body steady while that's happening. Right? That is going to be a real challenge for your ankles when we do it correctly, and hopefully I will find the book I was trying to stand on tonight and demonstrate with that tomorrow. So, hey, good to see you too, Karen. Thank you for showing up. Yes, exactly, Kim, a big book or two. Kim, you're in grad school, right? You've got a big book or two lying around somewhere, I believe. Yeah, it's not that socks are a bad thing. It's just that whatever the ball of your foot is on needs to be really stable, because again, it's not about reaching the hill. This is not totally a calf raise. This is more quad work. This is more quad, IT band coordination, and using your lats, because you to hold that position, right, you have to drive your armpits towards your waist. Hold everything open. So Topic that have huge encyclopedia things you could use. Perfect. Yes. Give that a try. Tell you what, Melissa, go give it a whirl. Just see if it works. Go ahead and take a video of yourself trying to do the squatty calf raises on your encyclopedia and toss it in the Coached and Lived Facebook page, and I will come in and critique. But it's probably going to be fine. And I know it's really, really hard, that whole, because this is the move, the long and the short of it. Why is everybody coming downstairs? Moana over.
I'm just, no.
What?
It's just,
What?
it's just thinking one necklace and Shane wants it.
Shane wants her Moana necklace.
Yes,
And so you went to get it for her?
yes.
That is very nice of you.
Where is it?
Where is it?
In my room.
In your room.
The baby's sleeping.
The baby's sleeping. Sorry. So cute. So this is basically it, right? We're getting down really low, chest open, knitting these ribs together, chest open, down low. Whoops. Right? With all the focus being on keeping those ribs together. So it's not about you. I mean, it is easier, way easier to do it if you have something to stand on. And then if you try to do what I did just then, that's way hard. And it's hard because your ankles are going to be rolling all over the place. So the first thing we do is we focus on keeping those ribs together while we do it. And keeping the ribs together with our shoulders open. That's tricky because every time you take a breath, it's like you want to fall over. But the next step from there is we do it on the floor like I just did, focusing on your ankles not dumping inward, because that's the temptation, right? The ball of your foot is called a ball because it's round. So we tend to round inwards in those moments of weakness. It's easier to do it on a book or some a weight, not a plate, but you know what I mean, like a big weight, like you have like you put on a barbell at the weight room. So that's where I would start. Anything more than 2 inches tall is taller than you really need for all intents and purposes. It's about being as still as possible while working those ankles up and down. So, get closer. You're so confused. Oh, right. Thank you. I love those PJs too. We got those in H&M. I've never actually been in H&M. Well, I take that back. I had been in Hong Kong. It was a big deal when it opened, like a big deal in Hong Kong. And I really hadn't been in one since. And we spent some time in Cherry Creek Mall the first week of December when I was looking, or the last week of November when I was looking for the outfits for Christmas cards. And I went in H&M and did some damage. They have really great Christmas stuff. And it's terrible quality, but I don't care. He's really cute, and he's going to fit in that for at least another season. Yay, another season! There's that. Any more questions or fun stuff? Yay, your Bosu arrived today. Congrats. Yay. It's a game changer, Kim. It really, really, really is. I think you see when you have it, once you're fighting for stability in any particular place, it just really ups your strength game in a tangible way. So Julie's kind of gotten off easy training for her race right now, because normally I have to make my trail runners get on a Bosu ball all the time because I can't get them to go on a trail. And she's been wonderful and wonderfully diligent about being on the trails, which I can't tell you how unusual that is. And it sounds like it should be really basic, right? Well, if they signed up for a trail race, they should be prepared to run on trails. No, they're not. As soon as I say that, people are like, but I don't live near trails. And I'm like, what if you want to do this? So anyway, the way it is possible to train, but I have trained somebody for the Western States, not Leadville, but the Western States 100, which is terrible, by the way, terrible. The difference between Western States is it's just hot the whole time. Leadville, you get 4 seasons in one day because it starts and finishes at altitude. Don't get me started on that one. But people will go to Leadville with not enough training all the time, and Western States too, because it's a lottery. So all that just to say is that I've trained somebody who lived in Flatlandia outside of Austin, Texas. Sorry, not Austin. What's the one outside Houston? The city. We ran there. They have the bridge. No, the bridge where we did the 10K after I was pregnant with RJ. No, that's where I did the race after I had Cheyenne.
You know what Dallas?
No, that was White Rock.
Oh, you're talking about the Space City 10 mile?
No, we did a lot of races in Texas.
You're talking about the Galveston Bridge Run?
Yes, Galveston. Sorry. So I trained somebody who lived outside of Galveston, which is very flat, very hot, to get ready for a 100-mile race at altitude with a treadmill, some outdoor running, not quite enough as much as she needed, and a Bosu ball. That was all we had at our disposal. And yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. I don't recommend it. But that's how good the Bosu is. I tell you that story. I tell you that to tell you this. That's how potent the Bosu can be. It gets you ready for anything. If we train your vestibular and your proprioceptive systems and have just all the neurons firing exactly where they need to be, it goes a long way. So that was a word salad. Sorry for that. Galveston, all that. I mean, lots and lots of drugs and therapy to block out my time in Texas. And then it'll lose me at the one time I want to remember it. There we go. Well, I'm going to eat my dinner, y'all. It's good to see you, and I'll come back tomorrow. Melissa, I'm looking forward to your video. Where did you find a nail?
It came out of the wall.
All right, so wait, let's back up. So you found a nail in the wall and took it out of the wall.
Yeah, but it was like wiggly, so it could come out.
So you stood up on my bed and you wiggled that out of the wall over the bed.
I didn't wiggle it. I had to turn it.
Come here.
Yeah.
I love you. No.
So first principle, let's not do that.
So first principle, so you found this in the wall and removed it from the wall.
Because it was wiggly and I didn't want it to fall out. And
But if you had to work it out, then it probably wouldn't have fallen out.
yeah.
Yeah. I love you. Okay.
Well, even if it did fall out, I don't want somebody to lay down on the pillow and feel it and it will poke them.
I totally get you. Thank you so much, Cheyenne, for looking out for anyone that might get poked by a screw in the wall, a good 3 feet above the bed.
It's over 5 minutes.
All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to go eat my dinner and hug my kids. I will see you tomorrow for more strength as Inferno. Yay! Don't forget to check out my YouTube. I'm so proud of it and really excited. Yay. Bye.